Think about the exact moment you woke up today. Like the very second you opened your eyes.
Oh, I already know where this is going.
Right. I mean, if you are anything like most of us living in the modern world, within maybe 60 seconds, you were probably already, well, outsourcing your brain to an algorithm.
Yeah, reaching right for the nightstand.
Exactly. You reach for the phone, and suddenly you are just blasted with the permanent motion of the 21st century.
It's immediate, just a wall of information.
A total wall. Information is moving instantly. You're seeing the global economy shifting overnight, democracies trembling under pressure, and like another 5 notifications about how AI is radically changing how we work or how we think, and even how we imagine ourselves.
It's a relentless, overwhelming barrage of speed. And, our natural instinct when faced with all that chaos is to just desperately search for an anchor.
Yeah, we want to hack.
Yeah.
Or like a productivity system.
Right, an app that will finally organize all the noise and give us some absolute certainty. We are practically begging technology to cure the anxiety that, that technology created in the first place.
Which is so incredibly ironic. But the really fascinating argument we're exploring today in this deep dive is that the ultimate guide to surviving our fast-paced, hyper-connected world isn't a new piece of software at all.
Not even close. It is actually a philosopher born over 2,000 years ago.
Aristotle. We were talking about Aristotle.
Yeah.
And our mission today is to figure out why his incredibly ancient insights on navigating uncertainty might actually be the perfect and perhaps the only antidote to our very modern epidemic of information overload.
Which, I know it sounds totally counterintuitive at first.
Oh, for sure.
People hear ancient philosophy and they immediately picture something, dusty. They imagine old men in togas lounging on marble steps.
Debating the shape of the universe or whatever?
No, exactly. Debating abstract theories while completely ignoring the actual messy world right around them. But the core of this text we're looking at argues that Aristotle was doing the exact opposite of that.
Really? So not the ivory tower guy?
No, not at all. He wasn't trying to escape reality, to sit in an ivory tower. He was actively trying to figure out how to actually survive it.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because to really understand why a guy from ancient Greece is suddenly like the ultimate operating system for the AI age, we really have to look at how he radically broke away from the thinking of his own time. So set the scene for us. Who was this guy, and why was his approach so rebellious?
Well, so he was born in 384 BCE in northern Greece, and he eventually makes his way down to Athens to study under another absolute heavyweight of philosophy, which is Plato.
Right, Plato, the big name.
Yeah, Plato was his teacher, his mentor, but eventually this massive rift forms between how the two of them view the world.
So?
Well, according to the source material, Plato essentially believed that this physical world we live in is, it's flawed, it's corrupt, and it's constantly changing. So for him, true wisdom meant looking beyond this messy reality toward these eternal, perfect ideals.
Oh, okay. So like the perfect, unchanging truths.
Right. He wanted to find ultimate mathematical truths up in the heavens.
I was trying to wrap my head around this earlier, and I kept thinking about it in terms of like construction or maybe software development.
Okay, I like that. How do you mean?
Well, if philosophy were construction, Plato is like the architect, right?
Yeah.
He's staring at this flawless, eternal, beautiful blueprint.
Ah, yeah, the ideal form.
Exactly. But Aristotle, he's the contractor in the mud. He's the guy actually figuring out how to build the house when it's pouring rain and the materials are delayed.
That is a perfect analogy. He stops looking at the perfect blueprint and starts looking at the mud.
But let me push back on that for a second. Why does focusing on the physical world, on the mud, make his philosophy age better than Plato's? Wouldn't the eternal truths be more, eternal?
What's fascinating here is that Aristotle understood a fundamental, unavoidable truth about human life, and that is that it is never static.
It's always moving.
Always. He turned his attention entirely away from Plato's abstract heavens and pointed it directly at nature, at politics, biology, rhetoric, and, human action. He realized that we are always moving, always becoming, and our environment is in a state of constant flux.
Which means looking for absolute mathematical certainty in human affairs is basically a fool's errand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, you can't apply a rigid, unchanging mathematical blueprint to a thunderstorm. It just doesn't work.
Precisely. A perfect system only works if the environment never changes. But the environment of human life is constant change. Aristotle saw that we are constantly forced to make decisions and, judge wisely in situations where the ground is literally shifting beneath our feet. And because of that pragmatic, mud-on-your-boots approach, his historical footprint is just immense.
Oh, yeah, it influenced everything.
Everything. Huge swaths of Christianity, Islam, medieval philosophy, and even modern science.
Okay, so if the world is a thunderstorm and it's constantly shifting, how are we supposed to navigate it? I mean, we have all this modern technology right now, but honestly, we have never been more anxious as a society.
Which is incredibly telling, isn't it?
It really is. And the text says Aristotle realized we need a very specific tool for navigating all this uncertainty, a tool he had a specific word for, phronesis.
Yes, phronesis. It translates roughly to practical wisdom. And the best way to really grasp what practical wisdom actually is, according to the text, is to first look at what it is not.
Right, like it is not technical knowledge. It's not just knowing how to build a suspension bridge or how to write a Python script.
Exactly. It's not a hard skill.
And it is also not simply raw intelligence.
Right.
Right? Like having a high IQ doesn't mean you have phronesis.
No, not at all. And crucially, phronesis is not just following a blind set of moral rules. You cannot just memorize a list of ethical commandments and expect to navigate a really complex life.
So what is it then?
Phronesis is the cultivated ability to judge well within the movement of life itself. It's the realization that human beings constantly face situations where perfect formulas simply do not exist.
Oh, I actually have the perfect example of this. A few years ago, I fell down this crazy rabbit hole and bought this rigid, supposedly foolproof productivity system online.
Oh, no, I've been there.
Yeah, you know the type. I mapped out every 15 minutes of my day in a spreadsheet. I had my rules. I had my perfect algorithm for the day.
And how did that go?
Well, at 9:15 a.m. on the very first day, my dog threw up all over the living room rug.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my entire perfectly optimized system instantly collapsed. I mean, the spreadsheet did not have a contingency plan for dog vomit.
That is actually a brilliant illustration of this. The rules couldn't help you deal with the reality of the situation.
They completely failed.
Right, because you needed the judgment to know how to adapt, how to pivot, and how to reprioritize in real time. That is what phronesis is.
Okay, that makes sense.
The text gives some great examples, too. Think about a judge who is deciding a highly complex, nuanced legal case, or a doctor trying to balance competing risks for a really fragile patient's treatment.
Or a political leader responding to a totally unprecedented global crisis.
Exactly. Or even just a parent.
Oh, yeah, a parent trying to guide a teenager through a really difficult phase. I mean, if you just apply a rigid one-size-fits-all rule from a parenting book to a complicated teenager, it could be absolutely disastrous.
Because rules don't tell you how to apply the rules.
Wait, say that again?
Rules don't tell you how to apply the rules. Think about the doctor example. A doctor might know the medical textbook inside and out, that is their technical knowledge. But knowing whether to push a specific elderly patient toward a risky surgery, or recognizing that the humane pivot is actually palliative care, that requires phronesis.
I see.
That requires timing, character, experience, and just deep human discernment.
Okay, but hold on. Let me interrupt this for a second. Wait, isn't technology supposed to remove uncertainty? I mean, if we have predictive AI that can perfectly map out the statistical outcomes of a medical decision, why do we need human judgment at all? We have algorithms for everything now.
It's tempting to think that, it really is. But
Yeah.
let's look at the mechanism of how that technology actually works.
Right.
It's like having a GPS. Think of your predictive AI like the GPS system in your car.
Sure.
That GPS can give you the exact coordinates of every single road on Earth. It can calculate the fastest possible route, avoiding traffic, down to the actual second.
Right. It's super efficient.
But it absolutely cannot tell you if you are driving to the right destination.
Oh, wow. Wow. It knows how to get there, but it has no idea if the journey is actually worth taking.
Exactly. And that is the problem with modern society. We possess enormous technical knowledge. We know exactly how to build incredibly powerful technologies, how to sequence genomes, how to, train large language models.
Yeah, we are technically brilliant.
But we have almost no practical wisdom regarding whether we should use them or how they should be integrated into a good human life. The text really emphasizes this. We are drowning in data, but we are starving for wisdom.
That's a great way to put it.
We've outsourced our decision-making to the GPS, but we've completely forgotten how to choose our destination. And ethics isn't just an abstract system, it's about forming human beings.
And Aristotle's catch here is that you can't just download practical wisdom, right? You can't just install phronesis like a software patch.
No, not at all. Virtue and wisdom emerge through practice and habit. You do not become brave by reading a book about the definition of bravery.
Right, you have to actually do something scary.
You literally become brave by forcing yourself to do brave things in the real world. You develop phronesis by making decisions, suffering the consequences of making mistakes, reflecting on them, and then trying again.
Which requires a lot of friction.
Yes, and algorithms bypass that hard work. When an algorithm removes all the friction from your life, telling you what to watch, what to buy, who to date, it is actively preventing you from practicing judgment.
So if practical wisdom takes a lifetime of trial and error to build, that means none of us are born a finished product. We're all essentially like under construction.
Yes, exactly.
Which leads us to one of his most fascinating concepts in this text, entelechy.
Entelechy, it's such a beautiful concept. It is the movement from potentiality toward actuality. It's the literal mechanism of becoming.
Like a seed becoming a tree.
Exactly of that. A seed has the potential to become an oak tree, and through the process of growth, it actualizes that potential. A child moves toward becoming an adult.
Okay, I'm with you.
Because we require this constant movement and practice to develop phronesis, Aristotle viewed human beings fundamentally as unfinished creatures. We become who we are through action, through education, and through reflection.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you think about it, that is completely opposite to how modern life treats us.
Oh, absolutely.
The modern world treats us like we are smartphones. The underlying assumption is that you are basically a machine, and if you're feeling anxious or lost, you just need a quick software update.
Right, just install the latest wellness app.
Yeah. You need a new life hack or a 10-step morning routine, and then you will finally be finished. You will be completely optimized. But Aristotle says we aren't machines. We are much more like a garden.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can really see why treating ourselves like machines is so destructive.
How so?
Well, think about your garden analogy. A garden doesn't stay perfectly manicured if you just leave it alone. If you don't actively cultivate the soil, pull the weeds, and water the plants, it degrades.
It just gets overgrown.
Right. And human character is the exact same way. If you aren't actively practicing phronesis, your character isn't just hitting pause. The weeds are actively taking over, meaning ethical formation and public life are non-negotiable for human flourishing.
So how do we cultivate that garden? I mean, it's not just sitting alone in a room thinking really hard, is it?
No, and that is a crucial mechanism in his philosophy. We actualize our potential through very specific channels. Through our actions, obviously, through education, but also very deeply through friendship.
Friendship, really?
Yeah, and friendship for Aristotle isn't just about having someone to grab a beer with or, complain about work to.
Right.
It serves a structural purpose in our development.
Yeah.
Two friends hold up a mirror to each other's phronesis. When you are acting cowardly or foolishly, a true friend introduces friction.
They call you out.
Exactly. They challenge you. They model better behavior. That feedback loop is mechanically necessary for you to develop your own character.
But the way we live today fundamentally fragments us. The text makes a really strong point about this. We are broken into pieces economically, technologically, and psychologically.
We really are.
And our algorithms don't act like true friends. They act like yes men. They just feed us back our own preferences and our own outrage, removing the exact friction we actually need for entelechy.
Which reduces human flourishing to just consumption, to efficiency and metrics. How many likes we got, how many emails we processed, what our sleep score was.
We measure our days by the metrics of a machine.
We do. But human beings require things that literally cannot be quantified on a spreadsheet. When a society replaces meaning and ethical reflection with pure efficiency and algorithmic consumption, the text argues you end up with a culture that is incredibly technologically advanced, but entirely spiritually exhausted.
Spiritually exhausted. Wow. That phrase hits so close to home.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, you can just feel the exhaustion of being hyper-connected to a billion people online, but feeling totally isolated in your actual life. And that isolation isn't just bad for our mental health. It's practically catastrophic for our society as a whole.
It is.
Because, according to Aristotle, this unfinished human cannot become fully actualized in a vacuum, right?
No, absolutely not. We are fundamentally political beings. We do not become fully human on an isolated island, and we certainly don't become fully human trapped alone in our bedrooms doom scrolling.
Right.
We only achieve our full humanity through active participation in a shared public life. We need the public square to practice our practical wisdom with people who actually disagree with us.
And when you look at our shared public square today through the lens of phronesis and entelechy, It is genuinely alarming.
Yes, the source material points this out quite clearly.
We are looking at contemporary democracies that feel incredibly unstable. And the mechanics of why they feel unstable make perfect sense now. Our politics isn't a space for practicing judgment anymore.
No, it's not.
It has been reduced to a theater of outrage, tribalism, and spectacle. And it's all heavily manipulated by algorithms that are literally designed to keep us angry and engaged.
And when that shared ethical space collapses into pure algorithmic spectacle, democracy itself begins to fray. Aristotle's ultimate verdict on this is very clear. It's a direct challenge to the hyper-individualistic mindset of the 21st century.
What is his verdict?
He argues that a democracy simply cannot survive without citizens who are actively formed in virtue and judgment. Freedom alone is not enough. It requires ethical education, civic responsibility, and public trust.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm fully grasping the severity of this. So, according to this source, freedom without practical wisdom isn't actually liberation at all. It's just a recipe for permanent conflict.
This raises an important question, doesn't it? We tend to equate freedom with the highest possible good in our society. We think, if I am free to say whatever I want, buy whatever I want, and consume whatever I want, the system is working perfectly.
Right, that's the modern dream.
But look at the underlying mechanics. If you give an uncultivated, unfinished population total freedom and immensely powerful technological tools like AI, global social networks, and instantaneous communication, but you completely bypass their ethical formation, what is the result?
You get chaos. You get a society that knows how to build godlike technology, but has the emotional and ethical maturity of an angry toddler.
Exactly. Freedom without character is chaos. A functioning society requires a populace that exercises phronesis. That is precisely why the 21st century is rediscovering Aristotle.
It's all coming back around.
It is. The smartest people in the tech and philosophy spaces are slamming into a wall. They are realizing the absolute limits of purely technical reasoning. Questions like, what is a good life? Or how should we live amid all this technological power? Simply cannot be solved by data.
Right. You cannot run a spreadsheet to find out what a good life is. ChatGPT cannot calculate what kind of society we should build.
No, it can't.
An algorithm is never going to be able to tell you what makes human existence meaningful. Philosophy, at its core, isn't just an abstract theory for academics. It is an active, daily practice of learning how to live in the mud.
And the beautiful thing is, Aristotle never promises us absolute certainty. He doesn't hand us a 10-step checklist for a flawless life.
No perfect blueprints.
No perfect blueprints. Instead, he teaches us something far more durable. He shows us that wisdom emerges through thoughtful participation in the messy movement of life. It comes through reflective judgment, struggling alongside our friends, participating in our communities, and, well, accepting that we are wonderfully unfinished.
So what does this all mean? If we pull all these threads together from today's deep dive, the ultimate takeaway is that in an age defined by blinding speed and just a constant flood of information, true wisdom looks completely different than we might think.
It really does.
It isn't about finding the perfect tech stack to manage the chaos. It isn't about retreating into algorithmic echo chambers that protect you from friction. It is about intentionally developing the character and the phronesis to judge well in the moment alongside other people.
I think the most vital thing for anyone listening right now is to honestly reflect on how you personally handle the uncertainty in your own daily life.
That's a great point.
When you are faced with a complex situation at work or a conflict in a relationship or even just the creeping exhaustion of scrolling through your daily feeds, are you desperately reaching for a rigid rule or a quick fix? Or are you taking a breath and trying to exercise phronesis?
Are you treating yourself like a machine or a garden?
Exactly. Are you treating yourself like a machine that just needs a software update? Or are you treating yourself like a garden that requires the slow, deliberate cultivation of practical wisdom?
It changes everything about how you view your own struggles. They aren't bugs in your code. They are the friction required for you to grow. But I want to leave you with one final, slightly unnerving thought to mull over on your own.
Oh, I'm ready.
It builds on everything we've just uncovered about how human nature actually works. Since Aristotle was absolutely correct that virtue, character, and practical wisdom are not things you were born with, but things built entirely through your daily practice and habits, I want you to take a hard, honest look at the digital habits you participate in every single day.
That's the real test.
It is. If we truly are unfinished creatures who are shaped entirely by our repeated daily actions, what exact type of human are your daily algorithms quietly training you to become?